Reese, Wiggins, a Team Talk Deck, playing out of Columbia, Missouri, and this is KMC, Niles, Illinois. And this here is my Light Darkness Nature 60-card pile Monarch Control. I've been playing with this same deck since Winter Champs, pretty much, and came through the LCQs there. Didn't win, but turned around a couple weeks later and won ARG Circuit Series St. Louis with it. I'm at a couple cards different, but
thank you, sir.
I don't know, you can see those lists all sorts of other places. Text for the weekend. With the advent of other pile decks becoming super popular, I went with Skull Shatters. Those were Suffocates, which is usually dead and kind of redundant, and Skull Shatters was...
Yeah, they're going to end up going to Wizards too.
It's pretty much awesome at all times, even like late game against aggressive decks while they're holding Evo bait, just stripping it, and as long as you have a blocker or something on the board, you're not too bad. There's... It's never the worst play to make unless their hand's obviously empty. I cut one Wild Strider Ramnoth and went with one Scats the Stinger to help my tempo game. The problem with Wild Strider is getting it bounced back on turns 5 or 6, and pretty much the most frustrating play whenever this is the kind of archetype you're trying to play. So I went with Skax. You get 2 come into play effects, a discard, and a ramp, and it also ups my black count without hurting my multi-sip count too bad.
I guess the value is whenever I buy the plate.
You can see I'm not emphasizing Haven, even though it's heavy on lower cost blockers. The emphasis is in Kalima, and I'm at about 57% black. So any sort of one card here, one card there, where I can get that number up a little bit and still keep it in the same build helps a ton. Not a lot else. No blue. That's kind of the next direction in the build.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, it seemed like, you know, people reverberating, not getting the shatter.
For a blue build, what I've got on paper is cultivates, probably some number of the new Gilded Archon. Making sure I keep my 3-cost spells high, and then replace Reap and Sow with Cultivate to make it more live. And then crystals for the blue, and then, you know, just kind of nicking here and there to make it work. Trying to keep the deck around like 58 to like 61. But other than that,
just one question real quick. With the addition of water, like Kalima seems to be the best out as far as dealing with Haven, but I mean, as you said, you're at 50% right now. If you add water, like, what were your odds today? Like, as far as hitting Kalima, was it pretty consistent?
Kalima was cast probably 4 or 5 times in relevant place where it needed to actually hit something, and I went 3 on a 1 creature board, 3 on an empty board, 1, and 2, something like that. Okay. I mean, it's what you'd think it'd be like.
So you're just at the mercy.
I try not to rely on Kalima. I try to set it up so that
variants basically.
it's
like I almost played 2-color Kalima just fine.
Yeah.
I looked at all these 3-color deck lists, and I just wanted my Kalima to be awesome every time I cast it, or I wasn't going to do it.
I tried a green-black build just this last week, and the only green card in it was Reap and Sow, and for some reason it just always finds its way when you're hitting with Kalima, so that it definitely helped. What I try to do is utilize cards like Archon and even Vile, something like that. Getting my Ripper Reaper triggers off of really any target, trying to keep my opponent down to 1 or 2 creatures, so that a Kalima's trigger doesn't necessarily. I try not to make it so that I'm forced into having it out by Kalima hitting 3. I will usually only cast it when I need it to hit 1, and if I need it to hit 2, I'll get greedy sometimes if I don't have any other play. But I'll try to set it up so that I keep them under 3 creatures, preferably 1 or 2, so that I'm most likely to get rid of it. It's pretty much used for the recursion effect. you've got going on is when you're doing stuff like Ramnoth triggers and sprouts, you random tossing cards into your mana zone. You don't really know where those are going. So slamming Kalima and getting cards out of your deck to where they're safe in your graveyard. They can't be hit in your hand. They are in your graveyard, so it's like a safe zone to recur from later. Even having a card in your library is not a safe place, because if I sprout my only Cassie, then that's the deal. That's my only Cassie, and I can't get it back from there. But if I mill Cassie, I have options later to recur that Cassie. I don't know. It takes a lot of skill. The rougher matches are some of any tempo with Finbar can be a big problem. And mono civ aggressive decks are a problem. I did beat 2 today though, and you kind of just lose an edge against, in all the testing, I never got it to 50-50 against other pile decks. With the inclusion of Skull Shatter and just like a lot of practice, I got it to 60-40 at like most. And it's hit or miss.
Is it just the Reverberate that does it,
the
or
Reverberate
Haven?
is really what kills it. Recovering from, I've won through Reverberate by just having like
A well-timed Shatter or good plays.
decks that are running Reverberate aren't running Kalima, and so their high ends are Cassie and Haven. And Kalima's bigger than both of those, so even if they get in a board state where they have a lot of cards, their outs to getting rid of that Kalima are not going to be creature based, and no one appreciates Twilight Archon nearly as much as I do. This card is completely disgusting in control. Like, this is where my matches are won in control matchups. But yeah, Reverberate, it's worth it in the blue.
Definitely.
It's the reason to do it. It's a real thing.
Would you ever consider adding Spinning Terror? Like, if you tried and you couldn't get blue down, would you even consider Spinning Terror at all as an option?
I don't even think I need to Reverberate because
Man, it would it'd be cool, because then they'd leave them dead to a Storm Sparker or anything off the
Exactly.
top. So it's
like you look at Spinning Terror and you see, there's potential there, but you have to find some way to keep it safe from all that removal and tap down.
But when decks that are running Reverberate, especially in other pile decks, they're not making those early plays. They're trying today I've noticed they're not even dropping blockers to protect themselves. They're crystalling and reverberating and mezzing to protect their play of Reverberate.
Yeah.
And Spin Terror, I mean, he's on curve, he's mono, and he's black, so he'd be pretty good in this. That's thought like that is why Skak ended up here. I sat down with myself for a long time and decided this. As a one-of, I didn't draw it a lot today. It was cool. Especially when you're holding a hand that's just like big stuff. It lets you like just draw into it and not have to charge or charge it, because by casting it you're in the same position if you'd had charged it, but you're up there down a card and you've got a creature. So just little stuff like that, tiny interactions. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, either way, I really wish I'd have got your top 4 video on.
Yeah.
That was some insane matches.
Those were some
Like,
insane games.
seeing you power through Reverberate in a deck that doesn't run water was it was pretty awesome. I was rooting for you. It seemed like every time you'd rip the Kalima, he'd either it would whiff or he'd mess it out of hand.
It was a lot
Or
of fun. I thought my second round game today, my first round game today was some of the coolest interactions with my opponent having triple Kurgar and just getting through like that. But no, that last match was probably one of the most memorable I'll have. It was great.
So, is there anything at this moment that you can say, okay, this needs to drop to 2 of, this needs to come out of the deck, or do you feel that you have this at as good as you're gonna get Nature Dark Light Kalima
As
to
it
be?
is?
Yeah.
There's some numbers to shift around, but I don't want to.
Disclose that information?
No, it's not even that. It's 60 cards because I can't figure out what I want to cut, and it's 60 of my favorite cards, and I have a blast playing it, and they're good cards. But you know, you start moving some stuff, and you lose a lot of what it's tuned for, and it's tuned to be decent against everything. And then on your end, you need to come through and know when to make the plays you need to make. It has outs to almost every situation, just in the fact that it's white. But yeah, when it goes blue, the number count would shift pretty drastically. I'm trying to think of what the Grudge Weaver is not exciting, but that's only because Mad Watcher is super exciting, and it's like favorite card, second favorite card, so you can't really argue on that. Yeah, Grudge Weaver's not great. It definitely does. It helps in a lot of matchups when Mad Watcher is, you know, it being multi-civ and costing 3 whenever you need to make other turn 3 plays. Goop Striker is a boss card.
Oh yeah, I totally missed that as an out towards Haven. You do have the Goop Striker.
Yeah.
They fear that very much.
The whole plan is just to sacrifice everything early game, making every play possible to just keep them down on their creature count. Making Andromeda more alive and
Kalima, getting a Twilight Archon out there, and then
even some decks that are just dropping like a lot of blockers. See, that's these pile decks when they're getting triggers off of their havens and stuff like that. Just that extra one creature like shuts Angle of Outs out for me. Like just Haven AO shuts off Ripper Reaper. It makes Kalima like that much harder to hit. So, but I don't know. It's fun.
well, either way, I look forward to seeing you guys in future KMCs. Maybe we'll see you in Indiana. Or, actually, you're probably going to Nashville, aren't you, next week?
Josh is going. I am probably going to Mardi Gras stuff. So.
All right. Well, we'll be seeing Josh there. All right. Thanks.
No problem.